Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a first impression on the NYX Total Control foundation. This is just like the drops foundation. I also, when I went to NYX, I bought the NYX Honey Dew Me Up, which is a primer. I'm not going to be using this in today's video. I will do it in a different one for the reason that I want to test out this foundation with my ordinary primers, just so that then you can see how the foundation wears. I'll just get it out of the box. So the foundation just looks like this. I got mine TCDF07, which the guy at the Elite store matched me to this colour. It is a little bit darker than my natural skin tone, but I am going on holiday soon, so I just wanted it a little bit darker just so that then if I get a tan it will still match. So it's just a drop foundation and claims that with just a few drops of our Total Control drop foundations delivers sheer to full coverage and a velvety matte finish. Simply adjust the number of drops you use until you get a desired level of more drops equals more coverage. So we're going to give this a try today. The guy that I actually spoke to in Leeds store said that it's better applied with a brush. I will try a little bit with my Real Techniques sponge just to see what it is like, but yeah, I am just going to be using this. So it says it gives a matte finish. So I'm just going to start off by doing it where I prime one side of my face and the other side unprimed, just to see how it goes. So I'm using the Benefit Porefessional. I used this in my last first impression, I think, just because I use this quite often. And I know that it keeps my face matte on a day-to-day basis. So I'm just going to take that. I've already put moisturiser on my skin and everything. So like I said, just on the one side, just to see if it makes a difference, if it doesn't. Right, I'm just going to pin my hair back. Right, so I'm going to start off on the unprimed side first, and with that I think I'm going to try and use the brush just to see, and then I'll use the beauty blender on that side. So the foundation just looks like this. It's just a little dropper applicator. Like so. It does look quite dark, but I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine because he blended it into my skin and he did colour match me. So I'm just going to pop a couple of drops. So just do 3 drops, put one there, and pop one here. Right, for the brush I'm just using the Sigma F80 to blend this in. So we'll just... I'm just stippling and buffing at the same time. It's giving quite a nice coverage with what I've just used. It's very thin, very lightweight, which is what he did say. He said it's quite nice and lightweight, so it's like with the nice weather that we've been having, you can wear it and you don't feel as though you can build it up to a full coverage, but you don't feel as though you've got like a cake amount of foundation on. That colour isn't horrendously bad for my skin. It is just probably a tiny wee bit dark at the moment, but I am obviously going on holiday, so that is what I kind of wanted this foundation for. So today will be a good test because it's quite nice today, so we shall see if it lasts through the hot weather. Right, so that is just what one layer looks like. Quite nice with the brush. To say it's not got any primer on it, it's not really sunk into any of my pores or anything. So yeah, we'll try the unprimed side now. And with this I am just going to use a bit of a sponge just to see if it does actually soak up as much product as what he said it does. Because I do also like using... I'll do 4 drops on this cheek. And we'll just see, I'll just blend it down a little bit and then we'll pounce it into the skin. Yeah, it said it soaked up quite a bit of your foundation, but I do like using a sponge anyway for my foundation, so it's not soaking it up too much. pop the one drop on the chin like I did. I'm quite liking the way that it's looking, to be honest, with the Beauty Blender. Not Beauty Blender, but the Real Techniques sponge. I don't think there is actually that much of a difference in the coverage. Right, I'll just do my nose now. I'll do my nose just with the sponge. Pop a couple of drops on. And just see what it does. Yeah, I didn't want to try out the new primer in this video for the reason that, obviously, if the primer doesn't work well on my skin, then, or the foundation doesn't, we don't know which one it would be. So I'd much rather test them out in 2 separate videos. Right, I really like that, and also it's not sunk into my pores on this side either. It's sitting quite nice on the skin, which is very, very good. Right, it does say it's buildable, so I'm going to go back in with another layer. I'm just going to do 2 drops. Ooh. One on my forehead, another one on my chin, and I'll use the brush to blend in this just to see if it makes still any difference. I'm really liking the look of it so far. It's giving quite a nice coverage. And it doesn't feel too heavy on the skin. Pop a couple more on here. And I'll just do the same again. I've only ever used one other drop foundation, and that was the Cover FX one, and I did really like that. Right, so that is all the foundation applied. I think it gives a really good coverage. I probably could build it up a little bit more, but I just want to leave it like this today because it is quite warm. It's just, I don't want to feel as though I've got loads of makeup on, but this does not feel as though it's quite heavy. It does feel quite tacky to touch, but obviously I do set my foundation anyway. So I am just going to go in with concealer, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So yeah, it is quite tacky to touch still, but it will probably dry down. So for concealer, I'm using the Maybelline Age Rewind. Just doing my usual routine, no different. So I always think when you're doing first impression videos, it's always good to do what you've been using lately on a day-to-day basis, so that you know that it works. I'm just going to blend this in. Then that way you know there's no gonna, if your makeup normally lasts, then if you do the same products and things like that, then you know if it doesn't last as well, that it is the product. Then I'm just going to pop a little bit of highlight just here, just to bring some light to the middle of the face. Really liking the way that this foundation is looking and how the concealer is blending into it. I'm just going to do then what I normally do, set my rest of my face with the RCMA No Colour Powder. So set my under eyes first. Still, the foundation does feel quite tacky, that's why I'm probably going to put a little bit more powder on, because it does feel quite tacky to touch. Probably wouldn't be able to just go in with a light setting of powder, but hey ho. If it lasts throughout the day, then I am not bothered. Then I'm going to take a big fluffy brush and just set the rest of my face with the same powder. I always like to show me setting my face with the powder and the concealer just to see if the foundation moves as I am doing it, because sometimes if foundation doesn't sit well on your skin, when you apply your powder it can kind of just transfer off and wind up being in your brush, and then you've got like patches. So I always think this is a very true way to find out. So that is the foundation applied and the concealer and all the powder and things. So far I'm really liking the way that it looks. It's giving a really nice coverage, and it's looking very matte. As for the difference between the primed and the unprimed side, I'm not seeing a massive amount of difference yet. The only difference was when you touched it, this side when there was no powder on felt a little bit more set than what this side did, but other than that, not an awful lot. So in this foundation you get how many mils? You get 13 mil in this foundation, which it is a drop one, and it's 0.343 fluid ounces. So it's not a bad amount of foundation. It is quite a small bottle, but if you don't need that much. But I used on my face, probably used about 12 to 15 drops for my whole face, which seems like a lot, but obviously I wanted to see if it was buildable, to see if we can build up the coverage, which I quite liked it when it was a sheer coverage. It'd be perfect if you just want a little bit of makeup on and then running out of the door, that would be fine. But today I just wanted to see how intense coverage we can actually get with it. So yeah, I'm going to do the rest of my makeup off camera, and then I will come back and have a little chat to you and see how everything else applied on it. Alright, right, so that is me just put the rest of my makeup on now. I think this foundation looks really nice on. It's got great coverage. Even though I haven't used a pore filling primer, it has really helped. It's not sunk into them at all. My face looks really flawless. And the fact that you could carry on building this up if you want to is brilliant. So I actually paid for this foundation. It was £14 for this foundation, which I don't think is too bad at all for a drugstore foundation, especially because they are getting more and more expensive at the moment. What I'll do is throughout the day I'll check in, see how the foundation's wearing, if there's any oil come through, if I need to blot my face at any point or use any powder. The time is currently 12:30. Overall it is looking really good. I think the colour looks quite good as well on my skin. Right, so this is my first check-in. The time is currently 6:10, so the foundation's been on for about 5.5 hours, just over a little bit. It is a little bit shiny, which fair enough. To be honest, today we went out, after I filmed this video, I went out for some lunch, then we went over to one of our friends' house in Preston. It's her birthday tomorrow, so we celebrated that and we were sat outside, and it is really, really sunny. So obviously I've been sat in the sun for God knows how long, so obviously your face naturally starts to sweat, and I've got a little bit of redness, if you can tell, which is great for me as I'm really bad at burning. I can literally sit in the sun for 10 minutes and burn, it's ridiculous. But anyway, let's get back to the foundation. It is a tiny little bit oily, but at the end of the day I have been sat out, and for it's nearly 6 hours, bar from 20 minutes. But to be honest, obviously, it's probably 6 hours its foundation's been on. It has oxidised a tiny little bit. As you can tell from my neck, it did match quite well. But obviously that could just be the shininess. So what I am actually going to do, I am actually going to powder with just the powder that I used in the beginning. I'm just going to powder a couple of the areas down, and then we'll see what the colour looks like then. So for the powder, I'm just going to use the RCMA powder again, just so that then we're staying consistent and we're using the same powder to see how it goes. So with that, I'm just going to take the Body Shop, it's like a pointed taper brush, I don't know, it's the N93E brush, which I didn't actually know that before today. So I'm just going to take the brush with a bit of powder on, and we're just going to lightly tap. When I'm powdering over foundation that has started to go oily, I do prefer to use a smaller tapered brush, for the reason that I just think that it applies the powder a lot better, and if it's a little bit shiny, it definitely presses into them areas. Right, now we're just going to go over my nose. Make sure we've got rid of all that shininess that it had on it. As you can see, already the colour is starting to change, and this is a translucent powder. It's not a it's a no colour powder, so it doesn't give any colour off, so it's not lightening it or anything. If anyone says that, oh, the powder's obviously lightening it, and sometimes on a day-to-day basis I would normally use my MAC Studio Fix powder just because it's simple and it's what I have in my bag, and if also it's worn off in any areas, it gives it a little bit more coverage. Right, so that is the makeup now, and as you can see, compared to my neck, obviously my neck has gone quite red. If you just have a little look, I'll just back up a little bit. It has gone quite red because obviously I have sat out in the sun. So unfortunately, this foundation, if you're looking at the tone, it doesn't look amazing. But normally this foundation would match me. But obviously the tone slightly changed in my skin throughout the day, which I'm fine with because I can fix that if we ever needed to. But overall, I think the foundation is wearing really well. It hadn't collected in any areas like sometimes my foundation does. I think that is the lightweight consistency that it gives off because it's not really heavy. It's still not collected in many of my pores or anything like that. It's still looking really smooth and nice. So yeah, overall this foundation is wearing really well throughout today. I will give you another check-in probably just before I'm about to take my makeup off, because obviously the makeup hasn't actually sweated off that much. We are going to be sitting out a little bit more because it is quite nice outside still and we've just got home. So that is the plan. So I'll see you in my next check-in. Alright, right everyone, so this is my last check-in for this evening. The time is currently 22:11. I am absolutely knackered. I can't wait to get to my bed. It's been a long day today, but it's nice. It's been a really nice day. So overall, I think the foundation has held up really well. It's not super duper shiny since I powdered, obviously. Obviously you can see my lights on it, so it looks obviously a lot more whiter than what it is, but because obviously it's pitch black outside now again. But overall, I think the foundation is really well. It's not really worn off in any areas too much. Maybe just a tiny little bit on my chin, but other than that, not a right lot really. Overall, I think this foundation wore really well throughout today, especially because of the fact it's been so hot. As for the primed side and the unprimed side, I don't really actually see much of a difference. It might just be a little bit tiny less shinier on this side, but other than that, not an awful lot. So yeah, for the fact that this foundation is only £14, I think it is a really good price range. Obviously, I don't know how long it is going to last for, because like I said, I used 12 to 15 drops for my whole face to get this kind of coverage. On the actual box, it says if you want an actual full coverage, it says you need 5 drops. So whether or not that actually means for the whole face or per section, I don't know. For light coverage, it says 2 drops, and for medium, it says 3. So, well, it's got a plus next to each of it, as you can see. So obviously it's your own preference and how much you want to build it up. So overall, I'm really happy with this foundation. To say that I have had it on for 10 hours, I think it's wore really well, and I have only touched up with powder just once, whereas sometimes with some foundations I do obviously need to top up a little bit more. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. So if you did enjoy it, then please hit the like button and subscribe down below. Alright, thanks, bye!